Hi guys, I'm Greg. Welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Southampton Publick House. It is they call it a Baltic Porter here. It says American Porter on Beer Advocate. So, don't know if I've got the right one. It's 7.2. That's what it's got on the bottle here, 7.2. So, not exactly sure. Both of them have a different label than what's on this damn thing, so I don't know. This says Southampton Imperial Porter. And usually Southampton, it'll be South, then Hampton, or this is Southampton. There's no two H's, it's not separated, so it's Southampton. Is that Southampton or Southampton? Not exactly sure how that's pronounced, guys. These guys are out of Southampton, New York, and it's only got one H. So I guess it's Southampton, not Hampton. So, and they're out of New York. 7.2%, doesn't have, it says seasonal winter beer. Don't have the IBUs listed, so let me step over to Untappd. Doesn't have it there either, so we're on a guess. It's not particularly important on an Imperial Porter. Commercial description says here, our Imperial Baltic style porter is inspired by the strong dark brews exported from the Great Britain to Eastern Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries. Rich and flavorful with upfront notes of chocolate, caramel, and toffee. So, food pairings for this beer, guys, while I pop the cap on it. It says here, cuisine is barbecue, cheese is buttery, brie, good Havarti Swiss. It goes well with your chocolate dishes, and got a big S on the cap. Very nice. And it says the meat is beef, smoked meat, and grilled meat. And the glassware, the pint economic mug, Stein Seidel. I'm using my favorite tulip glass, and not recommended for standing celarings. So another reason why I should have a date on it. Unless it has something printed on the bottle, and I do not see it, so shame on you. Alright, not much of a head on that pour. Over into the light, a big red rubiness on the bottom, kind of dark on the bulb part, but looks very reminiscent of a porter. I can see some light through the bottom, thin part of the glass. Let's get a nose on it. I'm doing some roasty malt. Hints of some caramel, toffee, maybe some molasses, some brown sugar. Not a big chocolate note or baker's chocolate note on this. May get some dark fruit once it warms up. Got a nice sweetness to it, though. Well, that's what I'm getting on the nose. That's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees. That's what we get on the taste. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. Thank you again, my brother. That's nice. That's decent. I don't think it's anything outstanding or something we'd want to write home about, but it is very tasty. It does have a pleasant taste and aroma to it. To me, and as supporters go, a lot of times they are a little on the thin side, and the mouthfeel is a little on the medium side, not the full, creamy, chewy, thick, like some of the stouts are, but decent right now. So let's let it warm up. It's right out of the fridge, and let her have a taste tour and or two, and let's see. After I sip on it, I might step out on the deck with the wind blowing about 50 miles a freaking hour. I hate this weather. God, it's about 40 degrees out there. I got to suit up and put 2 or 3 jackets on and all that to go out there and pick a puff or two out of a cigar. It does have a good, pleasant taste to it. So let's see where we end up with this. I'll be right back, and we'll do the final chug thing. Alright guys, I'm back. Must have about 30 minutes or so. Decent beer, but not outstanding. I don't think it's today category to me, guys. They need to have a date or a vintage on their bottle, and there's nothing on here. To let us know whether it was 2013, 2015, 2016, or whatever edition it is. I don't know how big the brewery is. They're out of Southampton, New York. Southampton. Not Southampton, I guess, because it's all one word. But they need to have a vintage on their bottle in case you want to do a vertical side-by-side of a 2014, 2015, 2015, 2016 side-by-side to let us know. And there's no ink or anything on the bottle to let us know when it was actually put in the bottle. I don't see anything here. So there's nothing on the label. I don't know how big the brewery is. So if they're going to be in this game, they need to have a vintage on their label, especially if they're doing this year after year. It says here that it is a winter availability on Beer Advocate, so we need to know what year it was done if they're doing this multiple years. So and it has the same 7.2, so maybe they're using the same recipe year after year. I'm not sure. So Rico, thanks again for sending it to me, but don't think it's quite to the A category, and I'm going against the grain on this because very nice, very easy drinking, 7.2%, not a big beer, not a barrel-aged beer. It's not in, they're calling it American Porter here, and the label's calling it an Imperial Porter. Not so sure about that at 7.2%. Don't think that's quite to the Imperial category in my opinion. So let's do the final chug. Got a nice aroma, it really does. A little thin on the mouthfeel, and a lot of porters are that way. They're not to the stouts, that thick, chewy mouthfeel, especially something that's been barrel aged or something like that. Caramel, toffee, roasted malt, maybe a slight hint of some dark fruit. Not much, just a slight hint. To me, a nice introductory beer for people that want to get into the dark beers a little bit more. Start with a porter. I don't think it's an Imperial Porter, guys. They got it on the label. Nah. It's not an Imperial Porter. There are some better beers out than this for an Imperial Porter. You wouldn't want to start out with your in a dark beer category if you've never had one. With an Imperial Porter, you'd want to start with a 5, 6, maybe 7%er. I don't think it gets, in my personal opinion, it doesn't get into the Imperial range until it gets to the 8%. This is 7.2%, so I don't really consider it an Imperial Porter. It didn't taste like it. Didn't smell like it to me as an Imperial Porter. And the porters were basically designed to be a little lighter than the stouts. And this is. It's definitely lighter than the stouts. But it's not to the Imperial category in my opinion. So with that being said, guys, like I said, I'm going to probably go against the grading on this. I think it's a B beer. It's not an A beer. When you say Imperial Porter on your label, I expect it to be a little bit better than a standard porter. And this is not. So it's a B beer to me, guys. In my opinion, it's not even close to the A beer. I would probably give this the middle of the road B grade, which is a 6. I'm gonna give this an 85, right in the middle of the B category. So we'll go over to Beer Advocate. They say 81. I think it's a couple notches better than that, in my opinion. It does have a nice taste. It's kind of on the thin side, which a lot of the basic introductory or lower ABV porters are. Very easy drinking for 7.2%. Very well made. But over to Rate Beer has it at 96 overall and 89 in the style. A lot of difference between 81 and a 96 from these two sites. And I'm in the middle there. I think 96 is way better than what this beer deserves. And 81 is a couple notches below what I think it deserves. So I'm right in the middle. I'm at 85 here, guys, because there is no vintage on the label telling us what year it was done or what month or year it was done, whether it was done in January of 2016 or it was done here. We're in November, whether it was done in August or September or even October of 2016. So we'll know when the beer was actually done or put in the bottle. So these guys here at Southampton, up in New York, they need to give us a little more information as far as I'm concerned. Just my 2 cents. You might say, oh no, you're crazy. Well, I probably am. I probably am crazy. But I'm going to tell you what I think of the beer. That's what I'm doing and that's what I do. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me. That's your opinion, your prerogative. So I'm giving it to 85, right in the middle of the B category. That's where I'm putting it. And we've given you the 2 scores from Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. And for our final check-in, we'll go over to Untappd. And Untappd has it at 3.61. So that's about where I am putting it. Right in the middle of the B category. And that's where they're putting it. So I agree with that. So a very nice B beer. Need a little more information as far as I'm concerned to get a better grade. Still, even if I had the vintage on it, it wouldn't get to the A category. It might get to the B+, but it wouldn't get to the A category, guys. There are better beers than this out at 7.2%. Porter, I don't think it's an Imperial Porter. It's got it on the label, but nah, don't believe it. So, a little bit of misinformation as far as I'm concerned on the label and what they're telling you here and not having a vintage on the label. So that's where I'm going to leave it. If you had this one from Southampton, this is their Imperial Porter. They're calling themselves Southampton Publick House. Don't know how big the brewery is or what their distribution is, or they sell everything out of the brewery or they send it out to the stores or whatever. So you wouldn't want to pick this up after it's been sitting on the shelves for a couple of years. Of course, it's not like an IPA or a double IPA where the hops are going to fade. Or this is a porter. It's not an Imperial Porter in my opinion. It's just my 2 cents. It's not an Imperial Porter. 7.2 does not put it into the Imperial Porter class as far as I'm concerned. So if you had this one, let me know what you think. Decent, but not outstanding as far as I'm concerned. So Rico, thanks a bunch for sending it to me. I do appreciate it, sir, my brother. If you've had it, let me know what you think, guys. Come on back tomorrow. Let's take something out the fridge. Hope it'll be a little tastier than this. I'm trying to get all these IPAs and pale ales out of the fridge that everybody has sent me before they get pushed back in the back of the fridge and I can't find them. So let's see what we can dig out of the fridge tomorrow. Come on back. I'll see you then.